tick in terms of her chest, but in all reality that doesn't bother me, especially in these kind of cattle, because that's where a lot of your feeding ability comes from, is that chest. Sometimes we get just a little too critical wanting them ultra clean there, but I really like the silhouette of this heifer. You might like to power her up just a notch in terms of the lower part of her hip, but an excellent cow prospect. Young lady's heifer in 2, no question, a heavy muscle, more powerful built heifer. She's extremely long in terms of her spine. She's extremely wide in terms of that loin. She too is a female, stands out in an extreme amount of bone, really holds her top line together pretty nicely when we set her in motion. If you were going to change her though, she gets just a little square the way she's made through that shoulder. She maybe gets just a little tight the way she comes out of that hip. You'd like to relax her just a little bit the way she comes out that rear hock.
Class 9 female placings on the red pole side was entry number 15, R.R. Duchess, shown by Jacob Shooter. And second was entry number 16, J.F. Bella, shown by Haley Elsrod, Green Forks, Indiana.
Here we've got a single entry here in this fall class, and again, a very, very long-sided, very, very pretty and up-headed one as you get to studying her. Pretty good out of her hip. I think she's got enough width and substance to her there as well. If you're going to be critical of her at all, maybe soften her in her body. She wants to tuck up in her flank ever so slightly, but again, I think a good representative for this class.
Your moderator show in Class 6B. First place goes to entry number 16, TNT Glitters Shimmer, shown by TNT Cattle Company, Mansfield, Ohio. And second place, entry 14, HSR I'm a Hot Shot, shown by Rachel Duffy of Pontiac, Illinois.
And on the red pole side, our single entry for Class 10 was entry number 17, GLS Vanessa Jill, shown by Andrew Spiegel, Fairland, Indiana. We're now showing Class 11 on the red pole side.
Another really nice division here over on the moderator low line side. 2 totally different heifers and types and kinds. I guess it would depend on what kind of scenario and where you put your priorities, how you would place these 2 females. I guess I look at this breed as kind of what the breeds that it's mainly known for finishing out as grass beef deal. So I think that's something we need to take in consideration in terms of picking them, in terms of their size and their structural correctness. The young lady's blue roan heifer, no question, the long-bodied female. The female, it's got a tremendous amount of muscle shape. She's extremely wide about that loin. She's wide over that chine. She too is a female that stands out an extreme amount of bone. She's a female that's extremely explosive in terms of her lower stifle. A female that, if I was going to change, she maybe gets just a little bit more erect about them front forelimbs. She maybe gets just a tad twisted in that forearm when we set her in motion. I love her extra length that she has. I love that extra muscle. Maybe just a bit more terminal in terms of her look than the heifer behind her, but the excellent female that you could do a lot of things with. The baldy heifer out of the second class, a female that you gotta love in terms of her side view silhouette. She's extremely balanced in terms of her depth from flank to flank. She's straight in terms of her lines. I really like the front end in this heifer. A lot of people would criticize her for that chest. To me, she just looks like a cow. She's got that extra depth and balance and structural correctness. Like I said in class, I definitely like the power her up in terms of her muscle shape. I think she could just be expanded just a little bit in terms of her width of skeleton, but an excellent female. 2 outstanding females. Again, like I said, depends on what kind of scenario you put them in. Let's give the exhibitors a round of applause and I'll show you which one I like the best.
Got a pair of June heifers here we like pretty well. Heifer I lead off with, again, I love the volume of this one. I think where she really, for me, gets the nod in this pair is just structurally. I think she's better in the angle of her shoulder. I think she's better and more laid back in her knee. And when she gets out on the go, to me, she has more reach up front. From there back, though, she's the bolder bodied one that's just got more stoutness and more width. Definitely the more extended, maybe the prettier fronted one that comes here in second. I love her length. She's got enough squareness to her from behind. Center part of her body I like in terms of boldness. I want to change that one in her shoulder angle, maybe open her up in the shape of her forerib there as well. But again, a good pair of females.
On your moderator show, your intermediate yearling champion heifer goes to entry number 16, TNT Glitter Shimmer, shown by TNT Cattle Company, Mansfield, Ohio. Reserve champion is entry number 13, WDL Holly ET 503C, shown by Zoe Walker, Roswell, New Mexico. We're now going to be showing for the grand champion moderator female.
And on the red pole side, placings for Class 11. First place, entry number 20, AKS Renesmee, shown by Luke Jones. Second place was entry number 19, DFM Susie, shown by McCall Show Cattle. We're now showing for the Division 4 intermediate champion on the red pole side.
Extremely good show here on the low line side in their moderator, a kind of a percentage program here. I think we got 4 excellent individuals, and there's a lot of good individuals that aren't back out here in this championship. Let's give all these breeders a round of applause. Like I said, there's a lot of variance in type and kind in the cattle we sorted through. Depends on what kind of scenario you're doing. Like I come in this ring as coming in as practical-minded cattle that's going to go work out in the real world. I know this breed's kind of noted for being like the grass-fed deal, and I think all 4 of these females back out here are the kind that can fit that mold. The heifer out of the first class, she's a heifer I really like in terms of her width and dimension through her skeleton. She's extremely square about her pin set. She's extremely wide in terms of her chest floor. She too is a female and has some balance, and look when we analyze her from the side, when she balances herself out and just relaxes, she's just a heifer that's got a tremendous amount of look out through that front. She's extremely level in terms of her pins. She's a heifer, maybe gets just a bit more erect in terms of her structure, but I like her growth curve, I like her width and dimension, and her femininity that she possesses. Young man's heifer out of class 2, a heifer from the side. You gotta like her in terms of her strength of lines. She's ultra feminine about her front. She's really fine, refined in terms of her joints. She's a female, when I get to analyze it to the other females out here, gets quite a bit more base narrow. I'd like to expand her in terms of that center part of her rib cavity, but I like her added length and femininity that she possesses. The heifer out of the 3rd division, a heifer I love in terms of her circumference of foot. This heifer stands out in a big old foot, goes up into some substance of bone. She too is a female. When you set her in motion, she's definitely agile. She can get out, flex, and go. She's got some added length of body. If I was going to change her, like I said, I'd like to clean her up just a notch in terms of her navel. Maybe like to strengthen her just ever so slightly in terms of her loin when we set her in motion. She wants to get just a bit weak there, but extremely functional kind of female and a very nice rig in terms of her condition. The heifer out of the last class, a heifer she's got to love in terms of her overall depth and feeding ability. You can see she's the kind you can turn out and just forget about. She's a female that's got just a real maternal look from the side. She's really neat and clean through them joints. She too is a female that's got enough width. Like I said, I'd like to power her up just a tick, maybe freshen her up just a notch in terms of that condition. But when you analyze these females from the side, just brings a real cow look to the ring. 4 really nice individuals. I'll go out and select your champion. Let's give them all a round of applause one more time.
Here in our summer fall division here in the red pole side, really competitive as you get to looking at these. Our heifer out of her 1st class, again, love the body shape and just the broodiness of her. One of the truly good footed females out here that sets down with some cushion and comfort to her lower joints. She's a little plainer up front maybe than some we have out here, but I think from her shoulder back, she is one of the better ones in terms of just function and productive look. Heifer that was a single entry out of the next class. Again, a lot of length, a lot of femininity to her. I think you really like that about her. Pretty smooth the way she goes from her shoulder back into her forerib. Maybe gives up a little more volume to heifers on either side of her. Like to soften her up just a bit. Heifer that came out of the other class, again, a decent pair of heifers within that class. I just love the extra body shape again. She's a cow first, and I appreciate that about her. I like the width, the substance that she has. Again, one of the truly good footed ones out here that still gets around and goes well. She puts a good combination of things together. We're going to use her to be our champion here in this division. We pull the 2nd place in that class in line, and again, I think it comes down between her and the heifer out of the 1st class. It just depends where you want to be on frame size, where you want to be on structure on these two. This heifer obviously has more extension, more look, and more femininity. You just want to refine that shoulder and make it a little different into her. That heifer there obviously has the advantage in just kind of moderation and body type and good at the ground there. Probably the one that fits this one best in terms of just the way they look and their kind. Try to stay consistent as young man's little heifer up there. She'll be reserved here in this division.
Your low-line division here with a grand champion moderator heifer is entry number 16, TNT Glitters Shimmer, shown by TNT Cattle Company of Mansfield, Ohio. The reserve champion moderator female is entry number 8. That is TCS JH Classy, shown by Tubbins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri.
Cameron was in there getting the food.
Yeah. And on our red pole side, Division 4 Intermediate Champion goes to entry number 20, AKS Renesmee, shown by Luke Jones from West Milton, Ohio. And our reserve goes to entry number 15, RR Duchess, shown by Jacob Shooter from Franklin, Indiana.
On the low-line side, we're going to take our pictures of our champions as we select them. So We'll stop a moment here and just grab a picture.
We're on Class 14 on the red pole side. Class 14 is in the show ring.
What do you want? You want to get back in your stroller? Try and get his back.
What are you trying to get, Squirt? What you want your backpack? Here, hook this on. It's kind of heavy. It's even here, it's heavy. Hook that on. There you go. Lane, pick up that thing on the floor. Put that back on here like it's supposed to be.
I think another good class of heifers, and 3 heifers that have definitely grown well. We've done a nice job managing them at this point in terms of composition and the condition that they have on them as well. I think the difference is the young lady's heifer that leads off the class. Again, I just love the correctness of her. Really, really good in terms of her feet and leg structure. Very, very loose and agile and athletic as she gets on the move. I think one that still comes to us with an ample amount of rib cage and body. I like her length and comfort up front. Very flat shouldered, very angular there as well. There'll be some that are maybe deeper flanked maybe than what she is, but boy, she puts a lot of good together in terms of her skeletal build. Young man's heifer here in second. I like this one's balance when you get off to her from the side. I liked again the body rib cage of her. Probably the thickest ended heifer of the trio when you have them out there. Still one that's pretty long in terms of her stride. So I like to clean her up at the base of her chest floor. She's pushing a little more condition there, prettier up in that regard. And lady's heifer that's going to be third, probably the growthiest heifer of the 3. Again, has some length, has some performance to her, has some weight per day of age, pretty bold in her center there as well. I like to maybe provide her with just a little more depth of body to her. She wants to get just more tucked up and tighter in her flank, maybe in relation to her chest floor. And I like to clean her up in terms of her brisket just to make her prettier and better to look at, but she does a nice job showing that one as well. So 3 nice heifers here in that competitive class.
And placings for Class 14 on the red pole side. First place heifer, entry 21, J.F. April, shown by Krista Edgel from Ligonier, Indiana. Second place was entry number 23, T.F. Tara Joy, shown by Haley Elsrod, Greens Fork, Indiana. And third place is entry 24, G.F. Jesse's Girl, shown by Lindsay Jackson, Greens Fork, Indiana. We're now ready for Class 14 or Class 15 on the red pole side. And on the red pole side, the national queen, Megan Spiegel from Fairland, Indiana, is the 2016 national ambassador representing the red pole breed. Megan is a sophomore at Purdue University, majoring in animal science. We thank Megan for her 2 years of service as our ambassador. Also, the Red Pole Juniors will meet at the Jackson Farm Stalls 15 minutes after the show. That is at the Jackson Farm Stall 15 minutes after the show.
Let's just leave that here. Let's just leave our stroller here. Can we leave it here?
I think another good pair of heifers here, and again, the female we start off with, not only is she wider and square and more correct from hot to ground as she goes, but you get them to the side, and to me that's the more attractive heifer in the pair. That levels off and maybe is just a little more ideal out of her hip. We've got some body shape to her there as well. Starting to show some other advancement there. You like that about her. Maybe want to refine her in her shoulder. She is just a little coarser in her shoulder, a little more elevated in terms of the straightness of her shoulder. With the heifer here in second, just a broody female. I really love the body, easy fleshing type of female. Not so sure I don't like her udder structure better in terms of her teeth size and the refinement of it. Just one I like to see go a little leveler in her spine, a little looser, more comfortable off of her rear step as a compared to your class winner. But good set of heifers.
Our first place heifer is entry number 26. AK Atta Girl, shown by AK Cattle Company, Shelbyville, Kentucky. Second place is Park Style Frosty, shown by Caden Parks, Wingate, Indiana. We're now ready for Class 16 on the red pole side. Showing Division 5 Junior Champion on the red pole ring.
I think a good division here, and again, very, very competitive against tough. Maybe the best structured one in the division is the one out of the first class. Very good in terms of her lines and her correctness. Love how feminine she is. I like the way she puts her shoulder onto her body in a very angular manner there. Get behind her, there's still some substance to that female as well. The one that came out of that next class, a little more modern in her kind, and that's fine. Love the boldness of her body. She's the stouter one when you get in behind them and study them. Along with that, though, she's a little coarser about her shoulder, maybe not as feminine, and maybe not as angular up front as what the heifer right there out of her first class. So a lot of give and take between those two. To me, those two bring the most good out within this division, but again, try to keep it consistent in terms of structure. Use young ladies heifer here at the front of our line to be our champion in this division. heifer that was second in that class. Again, kind of fits that same mold. Very smooth made, pretty good at the ground in terms of her feet. Like to open her up a little bit more, like to clean her up at the base of her chest floor. A lot of give and take between them though. But probably the other one I find the extra value in terms of stoutness of skeleton and boldness is the heifer out of that second class. And we'll keep her there and use her for reserve.
Really nice class here. I guess these are purebreds. I think we got a class winner that wins this class quite handily in my mind. She's a female that puts a lot of good things together in terms of a cow look from the side, yet she's got that extra width and dimension that I like. She's a female that's got tremendous turn and shape to her top. She's really wide through that chest floor. She's wide in terms of that rear base. She's really level from flank to flank. If you're going to change her, you'd like to lengthen her out in terms of her side view, just ever so slightly. But I like that extra dimension and the extra rib and just overall cow look. Really attractive. Baldy comes out next. The heifer's probably a little more feminine through her shoulder. She's a little more longer and extended in terms of her neck. She is a female that's really straight in terms of her lines. Gets a little bit more cut up in terms of her flank for me. I'd like to relax her in terms of her ankle when I set her in motion. And definitely like to power up through the center part of her rib cavity. Finish out the class with a heifer that's got loads of meat and muscle in her. She works a big old forearm. She's really powerful in terms of that top and hip. Just gets a bit more restricted in terms of her movement. She gets a bit more wrecked off of both ends for me. Not definitely, she maybe gets just a tad pigeon-toed way she comes off that front end.
Here are the results in your purebred lowline female show in class number 9. First is entry 17, CTL Keep in the Faith 16D, shown by Crazy Town Lowlines of Roswell, New Mexico, and Spotted Hills Ranch, Montgomery, Texas. Second is entry 22, HCK Willa's Destiny, shown by Hidden Creek Farms of Mansfield, Ohio. And in third place is entry number 20, DA Del Sign, shown by Ollenbaum Farms of Trenton, Missouri.
Our red pole Division 5 junior champion was entry number 21, JF April, shown by Krista Edgell from Ligonier, Indiana. Our reserve was entry number 26, AK Attagirl, shown by AK Cattle Company, Shelbyville, Kentucky.
Another really nice single entry here. A female that's got an added amount of length of spine. She's really deep in terms of her rib. She's a female that's really refined in terms of her joints. You're going to change her, like to clean her up just a notch through that chest floor, but extremely nice female, can stand a lot of competition.
Here in our senior yearling, our senior division here, we've got 3 nice heifers. I know it's a class. We're going to talk all 3 of them because it's also a division here. Heifer here up front. I love the length of body of this one and still comes with enough depth and substance to her. Again, a sound made one that's very loose and agile as you get her out here. You're going to critique on that heifer. I like to blend her into the point of her shoulder. She gets a little coarser there. I like to change her teeth structure there. She's a little long loose there in terms of her udder, but still a nice heifer. The heifer that's circling around now, that's in the middle, again, love the boldness of her body. You get behind her, you know that one's stout and has some dimension to her. Very long spine and very good out of her hip. Maybe compositionally, I like to change her the most. She's pushing a little more condition up front. Maybe doesn't show as much evidence in terms of her stage of gestation when you study her through her rear rib and flank. A little tighter there, but still a nice kind of a heifer. And then the outlier of the group is the one that's here in the back. Again, one that's very, very very different in terms of foot and bone and substance. I really, really like her at the surface. Again, a heavy structured female that still has some width. Compositionally, she's a fresh one out here that doesn't have too much on her at all whatsoever. And so I like the rig and what she's in.